I'm Phil Hagan, Regatta Director at Aberdeen Asset Management Cows Week. For the first time this year, I've decided to produce an online video with the skipper's briefing for the regatta. I hope this will help the many competitors we have that are unable to meet and join us at the Friday evening briefing before the start of the event. We have two principal race officers this year, Peter Taylor, who is Commodore of the Royal London Yacht Club. Peter will be the PRO for the first Saturday through to the Wednesday. The second half of the week, Simon van der Baal from the Royal Yacht Squadron will take over, and he'll be running the regatta from Thursday through to the final Saturday. For those of you who are not familiar with the geography of Cowes, this slide shows you where the key locations are. The Aberdeen Asset Management Regatta Centre is located on the parade overlooking Trinity Landing. This is where the regatta administration is run from and where you should go to for registration, which opens this Thursday at 2 p.m, declarations, general inquiries and protest hearings. Official notice board locations are the website and at Regatta House. For White Group, a notice will also be put on the pathway notice board at the Island Sailing Club. Safety and emergency procedures. Not everyone's favourite section, but very important to know. In the unfortunate event that you have a personal injury, severe illness, or the boat is in danger, you should call the Solent Coast Guard on VHF Channel 16. If you need to land a casualty, this should be done at Trinity Landing. Trinity Landing is located on the right-hand side of the inner fairway as you pass number 1 and number 2 fairway buoys. Trinity Landing offers the very best access for all our emergency services. For minor incidents requiring medical attention, first aid service can be found at the Regatta Centre, Cowes Yacht Haven, and the Cowes Medical Centre. The Cowes Medical Centre is about 5 minutes away in a car and can be found on the Newport Road, Cowes. Medical advice can also be obtained using the NHS non-emergency service. This is available by dialing 111. Now on to something a little more cheerful. There are a total of 6 VHF radio channels that you will be using to run Cowes Week. The Bramble line will normally start at the Black Group classes and will operate on VHF channel 02. The Royal Yacht Squadron, which normally starts the White Group classes, will operate on VHF channel 03. The Straight line, which is normally used for White Group finishes, will use VHF channel 04. It is possible that the straight line may be used for a start later in the week. There's also a black committee boat. Each day runs the starts for 5 or 6 of the Black Group classes. This line operates on VHF channel 22. The classes that start on the committee boat do change each day, so if you're in the Black Group, you'll need to pay attention to Table 3 in the sailing instructions to know which line you're starting on that day. SB20 and J70 classes will have a second race on Saturday, Sunday and Monday. This will be run by our White Group committee boat, which will operate on VHF channel 05. The White Group committee boat may also run a start for the XOD class later in the week. If this happens, this will also be using channel 05. The channels used by the various lines cannot receive calls from competitors. They are outgoing channels only. So that means that all necessary communication from competitors to the race committee must be made on VHF channel 77. The last point to mention on radio channels is that all Black Group boats must change to channel 02 after their start. If they're having 2 races that day, they should change from their starting radio channel to channel 02 after the start of their second race. This also applies to white group, and they must change to channel 03. We've talked about the radio channels used on each line. This line shows you the position of each of them. In addition, you will notice there are 3 gates. The South Bramble Gate, used to guide boats through the central part of the Solent, keeping them clear of the Bramble and Royal Yacht Squadron start lines. Both Eastern at Trinity Buoy and Western between Gurnard and KMS Buoy are there to prevent boats from approaching the finish line while other boats may still be starting. On rare occasions, due to postponements, which may be for commercial traffic or general recalls, the starting classes on the main start line may be delayed significantly longer than expected. These gates allow the race committee to safely shorten larger boats coming to the finish. If you're one of the boats being shortened at the eastern or western gate, you must not continue to the original finish line for safety reasons. Please take note of the precautionary area. The Solent has a high volume of commercial traffic, which, as you can see from the diagram, has to manoeuvre a tight turn in the main channel. In your sailing instructions, Black Group 1.7 and White Group W 1.7, use of engines to avoid commercial shipping is permitted, but must be reported to the protest committee. One other important point to make is that boats should stay clear of starting lines when not on their warning signal. Declarations. When your race is finished, you must send a declaration. This should be done as soon as possible after you finish, but in any case, it must be within 1 hour of the finishing time. One way to declare is by text. To do this, you must use the registered mobile. This is the one that you also have been receiving your courses on by text. The number to text your declaration is 07797 803 955. It's also listed in your sailing instructions. The format, as you can see in the highlighted red, 1624 space GBR 1234T is your boat's finishing time and sail number. There's then a space, and K987 was the boat ahead, space, and in this case the boat astern could not be identified, so that is put down as unknown. As you can see, the text is also used to inform the race committee of retirement and DNC did not compete. You can also declare at the regatta centre. Should you have a problem with the text and you can't get to the regatta centre, there is a number you can call for assistance, which is 01983 295 744. I must point out that this is not for normal use for declaring. This is to be used if you have a problem with your text. This is not manned by a team to take regular declarations. It's for emergency only. Now on to penalties, protests and redress. There are no penalty turns in the regatta. Any boat that has broken one or more rule in Part 2 or RRS 31 should signal her acceptance of an on-the-water penalty and exonerate herself by flying the yellow flag at the first reasonable opportunity. You must also keep the yellow flag displayed until you have crossed the finish line. And remember, if you protest someone, you must display a protest flag at the first reasonable opportunity. You must also not forget to hail the word protest immediately after the incident. And the protest flag should be somewhere immediately available in the boat. and should not be kept down below and in need of finding. The flag must be displayed immediately after the protest has been called. If you need to request redress for being on the course side of the line at the start, OCS, or a scoring query, you need to fill in a competitor query form. This can be done at the Regatta Centre. And finally, this is to let you know about the Aberdeen Asset Management Cows Week prize giving. If you've prizes to collect or want to come along and support those who have, prize giving will be held at the event centre, Cows Yacht Haven, on the Saturday, and this will commence at 7 p.m. The prizes will be presented by the voice that you've been hearing all week on the water, from Cows Radio's Dick Johnson. I hope you found the briefing helpful, and all that is left is for me to wish you all a great 2016 Aberdeen Asset Management Cows Week.